Hey everyone, it's James here. I just wanted to share another Encourage Minute with you this week. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever walked around with like a really full mug of coffee where it's like right to the brim, it's full? Now, how careful do you have to walk in order to prevent spillage? Now imagine you're walking with a full cup of coffee and that toy that you didn't see or that obstacle that was on the ground, it suddenly makes you trip and then you spill the coffee a bit. What happens, right? Like the coffee that's in the mug, it now pours over, it's on your hand, it's on the floor, and worse yet, it's on your shirt. Don't you hate it when that happens? Has that ever happened to you before? That coffee that was supposed to stay in the mug is now all over the place and it can't be undone. You just gotta clean up the mess. Now in life, we face obstacles, don't we? Unforeseen circumstances, out of the blue situations that cause a bit of a trip up in our day-to-day lives. I remember once somebody telling me that when you hit a speed bump in life, things spill out. And I remember thinking about those words. I was like, wow, that's really wise. Because there are speed bumps in life, and those speed bumps can be things like trials or hardships or difficult decisions or stressful situations that come out of the blue. And the spillage can be the things that we say, things that we do as a result of feeling certain emotions when these things happen, when hardships come, when trials come. Certain emotions start bubbling up, and then how we react out of it, that's the spillage. And sometimes the words, actions, you wish you could take it back sometimes, right? Like some of the things that you say, some of the things that you do, it's out, it spills out, and you're like, oh, now it's cleanup time. Well, here's my encouragement for you this week, because you know what? We're all going through a bit of a massive speed bump right now. In fact, life is kind of like we had to, slam the brakes. It's come to a complete stop for some of us, right? And, maybe you're watching this and you're like, you know what? I'm experiencing elevated levels of emotions. Now, first, I want to say this, that, it's normal to feel emotions. It's normal to feel angry. It's normal to feel upset or betrayed or sad or, confused or whatever it is, right? It's normal. In fact, Jesus felt emotions as well. Like he got angry, he got upset, he felt betrayed, he felt forsaken by God. And so, Jesus felt those things too. And so it's not wrong to feel emotions. It's what you do when you feel those emotions. It's what you do with the spillage that needs to change. And so here are 3 tips that I want to share with you for dealing with emotional spillage. Okay, so number 1, try to acknowledge what you are feeling when you are feeling it. Now that sounds like easier said than done, and it is. It's not easy, right? Because so often we see the after effects of what we feel based on the actions that were already taken or words that were already said, and it's like, oh, what just happened? Or what did I just say, right? So here's a tip for us. When you start feeling like you're veering away from joy or veering away from peace, it's like the newer cars these days. If you're driving along and you kind of go over the line, the car kind of beeps at you and knows when it's going over the line. It goes dee 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 dee, right? We kind of need that kind of a system for our emotions. And so when you start feeling like you're veering away from peace and you're veering away from joy, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now and why am I feeling that? Right? Because sometimes, it could be simple, like I read an email or I watch something online and I'm disturbed by something or something makes me, upset or frustrated. And then all of a sudden I'm not the nicest person to my wife or my kids. And before I know it, I don't even know how I got there. And my wife will, in her wisdom would ask me, James, what happened? Like, why are you here? Like, why is this spillage happening? Let's trace it back. And if I think about it, I could trace it back to, that email or that thing that, caused me to feel these emotions. Once you get there, you're isolating the event. And that's what brings me to number 2. Once you isolate the event, that's when you take it to God. Take it to God, pour it out to Him. So how you feel, what you are thinking, take it to God in prayer. And for some of us, what we need to do is we need to, have some alone time with God. He's our ultimate timeout buddy. I mean, He's listening to us. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding," I love that, right? It's this peace that is like, beyond our understanding. It's like it comes from the Lord. That kind of peace will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And so take it to God in prayer once you know what it is that you're experiencing. And then number 3, ask for his perspective. Colossians 3 verse 2 says, set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. It's amazing when you're like on a mountaintop, or maybe you've experienced this, you're on an airplane, you're looking down at the cityscape, and you get a whole new perspective, don't you? About life and about yourself even. It's like, man, how small am I compared to like the vastness of God's creation, right? And so it gives us a different perspective. God's perspective is always different from ours, right? He has the whole picture. We only see a part of a portion, right? Ask him for his perspective on things and he'll give it to us. We just need to ask. Matthew 7 verse 7 says, ask and it will be given unto you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. And so the 3 tips again, when you start feeling like you're veering from peace and joy, number 1, acknowledge what you are feeling when you are feeling it. Number 2, take it to God in prayer. And number 3, ask him for his perspective. So that is my encouragement for you this week. Take care, everyone. Remember, we're in this together. Let's get through this together.